You're okay, Mabel. Come on. No, 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 no. Come on. Hello. Welcome to another episode of What's Mabel's Treats. Nice to see you in the chat. Mabel, you're fine. Again, another bully stick for Mabel. She's very much... She'll come back in about 15 minutes for more. All right, cool. Tuesday's Twitch stream. We're bringing along and we're making real progress. I'm super excited to be diving into the next portion of the rig. I just gave it to you. What the heck? That's all we have. Mabel's got post-it notes stuck to her paws. No, that's okay. I just gave it to you. She's not feeling well, so full disclosure, today might be a really rough day to do this. So if she doesn't stop barking or if she continues, we'll have to figure out something because she's. I noticed that she didn't eat breakfast. She wouldn't eat her dinner. I just gave her a bully stick, and now she's kind of still barking at me. So I'm not sure what's going on. But this one might be a challenging one. Yeah, Mabel's warm welcome. She's the warmest. She's doing well now. So, yeah. Okay, we're making progress. We're making progress on Kadence's rig. Let's see. Yeah, if you were able to... Breaklers, you were in yesterday's stream as well, right? That's when you popped in again. But yeah, let's keep going. This is really exciting. We're still trucking along. Okay, I'm gonna pop over to the gameplay. And we're building. All right, so yesterday we finished Kadence's head, which is really exciting. I guess the last thing that I could do is group the head, but we'll leave the whole rig. We'll leave the whole rig out for now. We'll get into grouping if we need to at a later time. And yeah, let me know what you're working on. What are you working on, Bricoleurs, right now? Any homework in the chat? It's like not my favorite, but I'm excited about the little things. Okay, where is my multi-port? There it is. I'm gonna bring this over. Okay, so I wasn't really working with my multi-port connected, but we're getting to a point where we're gonna want to. So I'm just bringing it over. Again, the multi-ports are kind of like the sandwich. So the pieces of bread and then the rigs, all the meat and the lettuce and the tomato or cheese, whatever else that you put inside a sandwich. But the multi-ports, basically the top and the bottom. One's at the top, multi-port in. One is at the bottom, multi-port out. So I haven't been using it up until this point because I didn't know exactly where it was going to be in the network, and so I don't really love to have it like floating around. You kind of have to find it. So I had it over to the side, to the left, and now I'm bringing it up to the top in the center because that's going to be pretty accurate now that I'm done the head of my character. I kind of know where it's going to be. So I'm going to have it in line right here and here. If you can see it. Oh, Mabel. Are you okay? Oh boy. Okay. Yeah. Okay, she's okay. Let's see. So yeah, so now we're gonna start the body. We have the head all the way on the left. Earlier in the first couple of streams, I had made all of these blank drawing nodes attached to composites, and then that way we can kind of create them. We need a whole bunch, so we create them all at once. And if you remember my mistake Monday, I had to go back and add a blank drawing, so they're in there now. We now have our blank drawings as well as our first drawing that we're ready to work on. All we need to do is create a composite for the body of the character. And I'm going to name that right now, just so that I remember. So this is going to be the Master Kadence composite. This one will be the head composite. Could also say it's the Master head composite. Bring it down a little bit further. All right, and now this one we can just kind of bring up. I'm just going to bring it all the way up to over here because we're going to be drawing. I'm going to be bringing the design back. We're going to be going back and doing some drawing. This is going to be a nice little lesson today. The same way that we redrew all the pieces for the head, we're going to do that as well for the body. I'm on frame 1. Yeah, I got to bring up my design, which is here with the transparency, and I have my slide peg on, so I'll just deactivate that so that it's back in the right spot. And I'm going to bring the Z depth forward, but I'm also going to hide the head of the character because we don't need to see that for this time being. All right, so I don't normally rig this way, and I know I've kind of said this. I've started to take what we're doing and I'm applying it over these 2-hour periods, kind of learning from where we've gone, where we're going, what we can do. So with that cadence, haha, pun intended, pun very intended, I just doubled down on that pun. With the cadence of the sessions, it's a lot easier for me to kind of go through, and it's kind of probably a nice way to practice as well, like your drawing, which is always kind of the thing to do. So you're drawing, and then you're rigging, and then you're doing the pegs, and then the hierarchy, and then you're doing your finesses, your finishing touches. So we're gonna follow along with that cadence throughout the body. So we're going to rig the body, which will be pretty quick. I think we might be able to get through the whole body today. Next week we're gonna try to get through a whole arm, and then using the static transformations, we'll do the other arm real quick. And then we've got the legs. So I'm hoping that we can get this done for Christmas. It'll be pretty close. So, okay, so Bricoleurs, you're working on a personal rig. I feel bad. I'm not doing assignments from the class. I don't know what to tell you about that. I sometimes want to say follow your heart, follow your dreams, but also get your homework done because you kind of need, I think you need a degree to get a job. Maybe you don't, but you didn't hear that from me. Do your thing. Follow your joy. Okay. All right, so let's start. I'm just going to connect my first composite. We're going to build the bow tie, then we're going to build the collar, then we've got the body, and we've got the hips. So very simple, very simple. The head is almost the hardest part. So we've got the bow tie. Oh, hello. Let me make sure my touch screen is not on. Okay, bow tie front. We'll call this a bow knot. I'm going to also bring this up, but this might be faster in this case. Which one do I want? I want the drawing layer properties. That's the one I want. Okay. Bow knot. My computer seems to be starting to chug through this process. Bow tie. Okay, and so through this process, what I'm doing is I'm still looking at it the same way that I did the front of the face. So I'm still looking for the layers. This is the hardest. This is the hardest part. Is kind of going through and making sure you're looking at all your layers and you're seeing like what's in front. So one thing that I've already missed is a detail for the bow tie. So I have to go back and add that detail because we want to have that animatable. And I'm just going to add the shirt collar since I'm here. And actually I'm just going to call it collar. Collar front. Collar back. And we'll do the bow detail. I always like to use DTL as a acronym for detail. Tiny little shortcut. Okay, front and back. Okay, and then we've got the shirt. Oops. And I'll add the hips. And I know I'm going to add one more layer. And this layer here, we're going to call it the shirt. What would you call this? The neck, the neckline. Neckline. We'll just call it neckline. Okay. All right. Okay, so as I mentioned, it's so important to kind of go have your layering properly on the first layer. We're back at the starting ground, really. So we want to make sure we don't have any crossed streams. So bow detail front is going to go in front of the bow detail. And then the bow detail back is going to go all right, so no more cross streams. And I'm going to make this, spread this out a little bit more. Good time to use that button. That'll make our nodes horizontally straight. And my buttons have disappeared. All right. There they are. Okay, so we're just going to go through, we're just going to draw. So we're back to our shortcuts. If you remember those, they are I've set them up to be Z, X, and C. I think there's one in there that's kind of awkward, but I think they're Alt. I have to use Alt. And I'm going to save my scene. All right, and today we're just drawing. So we'll treat these bow details the same way we treated the hair. We'll have to make them easily clickable. And we'll make sure our line thicknesses match up. So let's see, we're working with 5s. Let me just double check from the head. This is a really important part. You don't want to start messing with your line thicknesses. That looks too thin. If I remember correctly, it's a 10. It's a 10. Thank you. I love the community aspect. All right. All right, yeah, it is a 10. Okay, you were correct. Alrighty, deactivate this. Okay, we won't worry about the layering. I'm not worrying about the layering for the composites right now. Right now I'm just doing the drawings. And on the body, these are the ones that are first. So you just probably caught that my chin is over top of what I'm drawing right now, but that's okay. That is okay. I'm going to go here and change my pencil thickness. I'm going to change this so that it's a 5 or a 10. And then that way, every time I use my tools, they'll pop up to be a 10. Bring my palette out at the same time because that's just handy while you're drawing. If you select the preset for 10 rather and just increasing it to 10 manually, I believe it will make that the new default. Does it make it the new default? That I actually don't know. I just set it up. That's how I set it up. That's how I've always set it up. I definitely don't want any tapering on these lines right now. Looks like all mine are set to 12. Okay, so I'm going to move my invisible handle to the layer below the line art, just so that it's movable. If I flatten the artwork, you can get rid of your the extra line on the inside. That's not really super mandatory. You don't have to. But right now I'm just making this easily accessible. So that's the detail. Now we'll move on to the bow tie. And I'm just paying attention to the layer that I'm drawing on at all times. If you're jumping between the layers, you want to do that. Okay. And now I'm just getting into fun shapes. Yes, you can create a preset. You can create a preset as well. Let's see. I guess if you go to the preset pencil 2, it would be similar. And I know you can drag them up to the top as well, and that will create the default. I don't know. Is there a difference in time? It's another way of doing things. That's the thing about Harmony. There's so many ways of doing things. That is the way. All right. Okay, and I'm just going to steal. Did I? Bow tie. I'm gonna steal this artwork. Not literally. Copy and pasting. I forgot to turn these on. No wonder it looks funny. Okay, double bow tie. Let's go to the other one. Okay, I'm just copying and pasting the artwork over here. And flipping it. Did I set my hotkeys for this? Because if I didn't, now's a good time. Doesn't look like I did. I will do that. Says I did. Okay, then never mind. They should be set. They're not working. And actually, wait, let's check one more. Keyboard shortcuts. And my drawing tools. Okay, flip. There they are. Okay, so flip horizontal. Let's see if we get this right. Flip horizontal. The following actions have the same shortcut, so that's a good sign. We're just going to hit replicate. Let me just double check that I didn't hit replace. I did. 4. There we go. Duplicate, not replicate. Okay, copy, paste. There we are. Flip. Well, the lines of you know what it was? I was also changing, it remembers your last setting. So it does, like the program does remember your last setting. And so the last thing that I was working on was the face, and the face had thinner lines. So it's not really like a case of like the ways of doing it. It's just that I was doing the face earlier, yesterday. That's what I was working on. So it just remembered that that was the last setting that I was using, and I just had to go back and change it. That's all. Okay, and then refill. Okay, bow tie detail. I'm gonna steal both layers. I am gonna have to go back and adjust the layers for the bow tie pieces because I haven't put the colors on the proper layers because we're going to be doing the same thing that we did with the face. There's going to be cutting and engineering here, so we're going to need to make sure that our layers are in the proper spot. All right, we got our bow tie. Actually, let me taper this line before I bring it forward. There we go, perfect. Now I can copy. Okay. And now we'll do our bow knot. Okay, yes. So I've done a thinner line for the face, and that's that just gives you a detail. And actually, I was looking at it yesterday, and there's certain things like this is the part when you get into rigging and when you're turning a design, when you're going from an image of the design to the rig to the actual animation scene. Sometimes you have to change the design to reflect. Sorry, you have to change the rig to reflect the design, but you also have to make sure that it works for animation and like in a cartoon setting. So there's certain aspects that are always looked at, and I know I've mentioned this a couple times, and this is the hard part too about working in animation because I think that you get really picky. There's a sense of perfectionism that really comes out. And so I'm trying not to feed that. I don't want to feed that perfectionism. But in a sense, like when you're putting something out on television for so many people to see, there's a balance. You have to find that balance. That's kind of the hardest part. And when you're supervising, I think that's where the most pressure is to see it. Okay, where's the or to not suffer from it. Where is the drawing? Here it is. All right, so let's see. By what I'm trying to say, it's this. So in this case, the line thickness for the outside of the character, so the jawline, even the eyebrow and the hair is a lot thicker than on the inside. So, but there's parts of me that want to kind of go into here and change things, which is where I'm trying not to go too hard as my build, like my inner build supervisor wants to come out and just go change, and I'm trying to hold that back. But part of me wants to go in and make some changes to the mouth so it's a little bit thicker in places because I think that it's a little thin compared to the eyebrow. So you don't want your face details to disappear. So let me do this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hide right now I'm drawing through the design, but I'm gonna deactivate my Z depth so that the design is behind the character here. And so here you can kind of see from a zoom out perspective, like on my rig, my lines might be a little too thin, but at the same time, that's not necessarily a bad thing. You kind of want a little bit of line variation. And again, like this is you don't have to copy this rig exactly the way I'm doing it. If it's yours, you can definitely make it your own. That's kind of the nice part about this. Like, feel free. You can change the rig. You can change the design a little bit if you're practicing animation or if you're practicing rigging. We determined the thickness based on from the eyebrow. Yeah. So yeah, and I don't know how exactly I did that. How I got to 5. Let me see. Maybe it changed and I didn't notice it. But I was looking at this yesterday thinking it's a little thin. I definitely want to bring that up. But and maybe we can do that. Maybe I'll do that at the end of today's lesson if we can get through it. Sometimes I look down at the clock and it's been 30 minutes and I'm like, how did we do all that? How did that time pass? Here, let me hide this so that we can keep working. Because we're, in theory, almost done. So let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can get done today. And then maybe we'll take a closer look. All right, so in this case, the bow knot has to be in front. So I'm just gonna pop it forward over top of the other bow knot, the bow details, but I'm gonna bring it forward. So like this, come on. There we go. And now all my bow pieces are drawn, so I'm just going to deactivate them. And now we'll just draw the collar. Change the color of the line. I'm going to change the color of the line as well. Back to the drawing board. Yeah, and I can, you can change the line thickness on all your drawings the same way that we went over coloring. So you could actually, if you wanted to, you could actually go in and change the line thickness pretty quickly. If you wanted to do any tapering on all of the lines, that would take a little bit of detail. But again, for the idea of working with on a television show, you would want to, but not quite something. And do I have, oh, I don't have the colors for this yet. All right, so I need to bring up the colors in my color palette because I only did the head colors. So let me add a couple that have no alpha. So I need to add the, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I've got the bow tie color. I've got I'll put the collar color, the shirt color, and the pants. Shirt color, collar, the pants. All right. All right, we've got the pants. We've got the shirt. We've got the shirt details. Okay, front, back. So yes, if you're changing the line thickness, the center of your line will not change, so you don't have to recolor. That's exactly right. That's the benefit of using pencil lines, is you can get away with a lot of those changes. Little changes like that. And this one, I'm going to do a neckline. Now, this is a piece that's hidden. This is just something that I like to build standard in rigs, even when you can't see them. Mainly because it gives the animators a little more flexibility if like they lift their head, if they go like this or whatever. The bow tie is hiding it as well, so it's very hidden detail. But I think it's a good one to add. So I'm gonna add it. Oh, Mabel, you gonna be okay? And so with this, okay. Hey, you okay? You need your stick? That's all I have. That's all I have. Actually, that's not all I have. I have her cookie jar. I brought her cookie jar over here. So I think that she's... I think that she can smell it. Okay. All right, so in this color, I'm just going to add, it's just going to be the skin color, the same... it could even maybe be the skin shadow, but we'll leave it for now. Okay, and I'll have to change this so that it's above the collar. So 2 stops. Okay, and now we draw our shirt, which is essentially just a circle. And in this case, we want to look at the future designs to kind of get a... sometimes I'll take the design or the drawing and I'll just pop it. It looks like it's almost a perfect circle, so this is going to work out really well throughout the entire rotation. Perfect. Okay. Shirt. And same with the hips. I'm holding down shift and it's just giving me the option to kind of squish both sides at the same time, not shift, alt. You guys can't smell it, but someone in this room, not me, just passed gas and it smells like rotten eggs. So I feel like I'm suffocating right now. This is such a one-sided experience. I wish that you could smell this. It's legitimate egg salad. Egg salad that's been sitting on the counter. All right, so now we've got the hips, we've got the shirt, we got the hips. I'm not a huge fan of what this detail is going on right here, but we'll take care of that. We've got our shirt. Let's bring back our bow tie, and then we can go in and we can kind of clarify clean up the network a little bit. It's a much smaller part, but we'll add some more composites. So that was quick, super painless. Okay, I don't have any naming on this composite yet, so we're going to add a composite for all the details. Whoops, wrong button. Control V, don't need the copy and paste special. All right, so we've got our bow tie, I'm gonna name these a little bit better. Bow tie. And I'll need a composite for the collar. Yeah, she's worth it. She's worth it. She's a senior dog. What are you gonna do? Can't really tell her to hold it back. All right, so we got our collar composite. I wonder if we'll be able to, how far we can get on here. All right, so that's it. Let me bring back the head. Let me rework some of this layering. It's the nice thing about working with composites is they make the layering so easy. So in this case, we've got the head that's in front of the bow tie, but we don't want that. We want the bow tie in front of the head. So all we're gonna do is grab the connection for the bow tie composite, and we're just gonna plug that right into the beginning of our master characters composite. There we go. And now we still have a layering issue right here. This is the head. So let me double check the rest of the design. I want to see exactly, make sure I'm not doing this, make sure I'm not, so maybe we bring the collar in front as well. Although I don't think, there we go. Yeah, getting close, getting closer. I can still see the chin. I don't know if you can see this. It's very difficult. I can still see this part right here. So I don't know. I'm trying to zoom in. I can still see a part of the head right here. So it looks like I'm going to have to put the whole head in behind the body, which means I can keep, I have not labeled this composite at all. So what I can do is I'll put the head behind everything, and I'll bring the collar and the bow tie back up. And just keep in mind, like, if you notice, I change things as I go all the time. I think that people are always looking for, when they're working on this, I think people are always looking for an exact formula, and unfortunately, it's really a lot of trial and error. Oops. For every character that you have to build. What I have right here is going to be a problem, so I'm going to deactivate this and maybe rethink what I've done. Oh yeah, see, look, I've already got all these other things that I have to think about. All right, so let's see. We want to have our let's do, I don't want to do some fancy footwork. This is the thing about Toon Boom, is it's really easy to complicate and go complex over simplify. So a lot of times when I'm working with people and they're using the software, and even I have to do it, I have to stop myself. My first initial instinct right now is to go into this neck piece and create an alternate layer that cuts. So a piece in the neck that will show up on the body if it's needed, and then another piece that's kind of hidden. It's like a secret cutter, and then that secret cutter is going to hide. It's going to cut all the pieces of the collar and the bow tie as it's needed when the head's there. So if that makes sense. So that's my brain wants to go complex, like engineer the heck out of this thing. But the secret to the program, the secret is that you don't have to do that. You can actually go much simpler. And in this case, it could just be adjusting the drawings so that they fit, because we are going to be putting deformers on here. And so if you need the pieces to come up and make them bigger, the deformers will be strong enough that they can do that. So that's another option. So let me quickly deactivate this piece, and let's see if that looks like it's a good option in this case. The other option is also to rework the collar. so that it's a little bit different. And let's play with that. That's why we had 2 hours to work with the body. So how do we want to do this layering thing? All right, so here, if I make this drawing smaller, I won't want to change the body's drawing too much, but the collar I can. So let's bring it down. And again, with Harmony, like simple is most commonly better. Most commonly. Put that on a shirt. Okay. All right. So again, when we put the deformers on here, they'll be able to grow a lot easier than they can shrink. That's just the nature of envelope deformers. When they are crushed, all that information from the inside has to go somewhere, so it commonly like breaks out of the deformers, and you get all these like jagged pieces that kind of look like broken glass, and they just kind of crunch and condense. So to make the deformers stretch, you don't never have any of those problems. So all right, so let's put I'm gonna unplug the hips for now because they're going to be somewhere else. Let's put the body behind the head. Oops. Did not take. So let's do this. All right. What we could also do, did I not put deformers on here? What's going on? Yeah, there it is. We could do something like this, but then it's changing the whole jaw, so I really don't want to do that. All right, so what I might end up doing is putting a cutter here to trim the shape of that head. So it looks like that might be one of the best ways to do this. I'm going to still change this drawing a little bit. Because it still seems to be large and doesn't need to be that large. Okay. And with this, I'm going to change this design. So we're going to get rid of one of these collars, since I have to introduce a little cutter. I think this is going to be okay. The reason why I would keep those separate is that it would give you the option to kind of like have a little play. I just like when you've got, whenever I have a character that has like a necktie or some sort of collared shirt, I always like to have the option so that the character can like have a little bit more flexibility, but also in a 3/4 front profile view or profile view, it looks really good when a neck has that like that overlapping section. So it basically like the neck is on top of the back piece of the collar, and then the front view of the collar is still kind of there. So you kind of have that like 3-layer. It looks like I can't tell from the video if you can tell what I'm doing, but you have that nice little overlapping action right there. And it always looks really good with a neck in a collar. So I always like to add that. But in this case, our carrot has like a very wide head. There's not really much of a neck. So it's not necessarily something that we have to go with. So I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to get rid of the idea of a collar back. And I'm just going to add a collar. And actually, I'm going to steal this drawing. Copy, view. And flip it. And I'm just going to turn on my snap to contour drawings so that they pop into place. Okay, so I'm changing the shape pretty drastically. And this is a really good example of, again, when you're rigging, you kind of have to figure out what's going to work for whatever the character is that you're building. Oops. And as for turn my snap to contour off. All right, so here's the secret. Here's the secret cutter. We're gonna add this kind of like, I'm gonna put this on the underlay, and this is the cutter. So now we're going to use this little piece right here, this green piece. We'll have that cut the head. So that way the head never pops. It should never pop in between that. I think that the bow ties will hide it. And again, we'll have to check with the animation to make sure that the head is flexible enough that it never really, we don't have to worry about adding another cutter. But I think this will be really good to make sure that we have that clean little notch underneath the collar. And because the head is so round, as I was mentioning, there's no real neck. I don't think we need to have that overlap. And we'll come back with the engineering. So we'll just leave it that way. We have our shirt, we have our hips. I think we have our neckline, which now I'm kind of wondering, maybe it's not needed. Maybe it's not needed at all. Maybe that's not needed at all. We'll take it out for now. All right. This is the collar composite, which we don't even really need anymore since it's just one drawing. Okay, so let's, I'm going to give them pegs, but I'm going to be deleting these pegs. These are just for the engineering portion, just so we can kind of move things around and wiggle things. I do want to test the head of the character, so I'm just going to jump up the hierarchy. Let's see. It's looking pretty good. It's not popping through, and I think that it'd be okay if it popped out the side of the I think it'd be okay if it popped out the side of the collar. Okay, and okay, we'll need to use the groups. We'll use the groups again. And now that the groups are already kind of being used, they'll be a lot faster to implement. Okay, so we need one. Oop, looks like I didn't name this one. Let me grab one that I named. Okay, we're gonna, oh, I don't need this on my bow knot actually, there's nothing there. So wrong one. view. I actually don't think that I need that on my bow detail either. Okay. Okay, so we need a cutter. I'm going to invert cut. Sorry, on the detail. And we're going to have it cut by the color. I'm going to remove this because I don't need this layer here. It's just really the whole bow tie detail is being cut. And we need to go in and change the artwork to make sure that our color art's on the color art so that we can have proper setups here. Since I drew everything on the if anyone has a shortcut for drawing like this, I'm super curious about it. If anyone wants to reach out, again, I know you're watching this outside of these hours. I love hearing about everyone's workflow. Okay. So bring that color art layer back down. And do the same thing for this bow tie. Cut that by the color art. Because I am not doing anything with the seamless here, there's no like seamless capabilities. These bow ties are really just the details are being cut by the interior of the color. I don't need to do any fancy tricks with the what do you call it, the auto patch, and so I'm not quite using it right now. It is there, but because the colors are, and again we have transparency here, so you're going to see more than you need to, but because the colors are the same, I'm cutting it more, and I could actually also sandwich it between the line. But you're not gonna notice that. Nobody's gonna notice that in the show. So this is not considered. In this case, it's not really considered wrong. But you might run into some instances where people really want you to have the line. That is the proper way of doing it. It's just that it's just one of those details that nobody is going to notice. And because the colors are exactly the same, there's no anti-aliasing there. So you can kind of get away with that murder. You can also add more composites so that you've got the bow tie one. So something more like this. So it's just a little bit easily readable on the screen or in the network. So then there's this one, and then there's the line, then there's the detail, then there's the sandwiched color art. So in this case now we have our artwork set up 100% officially proper. Whoop. And I can reset this. Reset. Save. Alright, so now our bow tie is done. It's working, and now we can do our collar. So everything is drawn on the line art layer except for the cutter. I do remember putting that cutter in the underlay. So if I pull that through down here, you're going to see the artwork. If I leave it like this, you will not see that artwork. I do want to cut that head piece, so we'll get there. We'll get there in a second. All right, so here, I don't necessarily think I need to change. I can move the artwork over just because it would be a good practice, but there's really no reason for me to bring the color. This part of the character's not interacting with anything else. So it might be a little extra work, but we'll do it. Oops, that's the auto patch. We'll do it anyway. And then all we need now is the cutter. So let's steal copy view. We'll steal this. And we're going to bring another little trick. I like to just pull the item into the cutter, and then the cutter acts kind of like as a pin, meaning it's hands-free. Ooh, and I haven't lost that line. And now there's two options here. I can cut the head down here, but because this composite has all this information, and because that might be too much, I'm actually going to go further up, and I'm just going to cut the jaw. It's really the only thing that needs to be cut, so I'm going to bring that cutter all the way to the jaw piece, and that'll actually be a lot lighter on our rig. So now I got to find the jaw piece. This is the reason why I like to use that cutter, so it's over here. So I got to go a little further. Hi, draws for fun. All right. Which one is the headpiece? Forehead, head, jaw. There we go. All right. So I can copy and paste and hook this up, but I don't need to have it inverted. And then I can just pop the mask into the mask and delete the old cutter that I was using to carry it across. And there I've got, now I've got it looking. My computer is chugging. There we go. So you can see that the mask is down. If we need to extend that mask, we can. But for now, it's looking good. And you can see now we're starting to get into these long stretches of the cutters. And again, we're just focusing on a tiny little part of the network, and we're just growing outwards. So always try to focus on the smaller details and then get bigger. It's always a nice surprise to look back and see how far you've come. Bright draws for funs. For fun. All right, so now we can set up our pegs for real. I'm going to bring in the hips. Let's just connect this down here. This drawing I've got right here for now, but it's not actually going to be a part of the body composite, but it's okay. So in the same fashion, when we did the head, we're going to do the hierarchy for the body. We'll set these pegs. Then we'll create our deformers. This is getting heavy. So I'm just gonna actually deactivate all the things. Harmony does read all of the node pieces as it's going in. So if I deactivate all those pieces, it should actually let the program run a little bit easier. There's also a way to set it up so that the camera isn't even looking at those at those pieces. That would also help us speed up our scene. I think since I'm running the Twitch software, my computer's a bit heavy. I'm surprised actually. It's a little counterintuitive to look at the little things and then go big picture. Yeah, it is a little counterintuitive. It's incredibly counterintuitive. Incredibly. Okay. Okay, wait, instead of me doing all that, let me click and straighten. Ooh, don't like that. Undo. Let's try this way. Good enough. Oh, see, I'm getting all build supervising now. Okay, again, perfectionist. Okay, so we've got that, we got that, we got that. All right, let's do the bow tie. Let's start with the bow tie. We'll start small. So we've got our bow tie front. That needs a main peg. So we'll grab that piece. Then we've got our bow tie back. That needs a main peg. And then we'll connect it to the bow tie detail. And same with this one. And we'll name it. And then we'll need a bow tie master. I'm going to bring this one on top of the bow tie knot because everything is going to be coming from, the pegs will be all layered on top of in the middle of the bow tie. Master, bow tie master. Okay, so then we need our collar and our shirt. So our shirt peg. And our shirt will be our shirt main peg. That'll connect to the collar. And then we'll have a shirt master. That'll connect to the bow tie. I think that the benefit of the natural leg is probably good. It's probably, like, you let me know, is the benefit of the natural leg good? You can kind of follow along what I'm doing. I think if I was doing this at top, like top speed, it might be really hard to follow. So I'm kind of happy with how that happens naturally. So definitely a natural stop to the force. Shirt master. Okay, so now we have all of our pieces. I'm gonna bring the hips over to the side. I'm not connecting them to this part of the network because the hips are not technically part of the body. Right now, what we're going to be setting is our upper body joint and our lower body joints. They will be the same, but we'll do the lower. I guess we can do the lower body width here. Okay, let's do this. We'll do one more. We got hips. We'll add a lower body peg. And these will go to the legs. One thing that I know that I'm also going to need is I'm going to need another peg for the upper body. Right now I've got the shirt master. So I've got the shirt main, which holds the shirt and the collar. I'm going to move it around. See, like that. But I also have one with the shirt master. That's got the shirt, sorry, the shirt main has the shirt and the collar. The shirt master has the shirt, the collar, and the bow tie. But then we have the upper body peg, which is going to have the arms, which are not going to get built today. And then we also have the head of the character that we have to add. So the upper body is going to have all of those things. But the next week we're going to do the arms. So we'll come back and we'll have to add. I can do this. I can add it right now. The shirt master, but it would be the shirt and arms master. This is not always a peg that is added, but it's a good thing to have before the upper body. So I could. Whoop, which button did I just press? Press the wrong button. So this would be technically the upper body. Whether I keep this in now or I add it next week, doesn't matter. Maybe for the sake of this demonstration, we will. So upper body peg, we've got our lower body peg right here. All right, so this peg here would be everything that is the waist up. That's your master peg. So this is going to include the head. So right here. So there you go. There's our second cross hierarchy stream. And by that I mean there's one right here, this long stream, and then this long stream. Makes it a little bit easier when you can kind of focus in on one area at a time. All right, and so now we can select all of our pegs. I want to make sure I have this one too. And go to our rotate tool. And we're basically bringing all of these pegs at once. We're going to bring them down to the lower body, to the hinge part, right here. So somewhere in here would be perfect. And then we can test it. So this is how our character is going to rotate at the waist. We can do a little bit higher, so we can kind of test this. Depending on how much hinge we want at the waist. We could do this as well. That might actually be cute. That's me. Whew. So a little bit different. We could even try bringing it lower. What I don't like is it makes it look very flat. So I'm trying to make sure that the character doesn't like lose its volume when it's moving. So this is kind of what I'm looking for right now. So here, when I put it at the very bottom on the line, it's kind of exaggerating that flatness. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. I actually kind of like it when it's a little bit more center. So meaning up here, kind of gives us a little bit of movement at the waist, but it's not quite losing its volume. There's still a waist at the back over here. So I kind of think I'm going to put all of those. Did I grab these ones too? I did. So I'm going to grab them all one more time. And I'm going to move them a little bit. So somewhere there. There you go. So that looks like they're gonna bend at the waist, and then you're gonna have a very flexible middle, but you're still gonna keep a lot of that round shape. And if you remember, I was bringing the drawing throughout all of the designs, so I think that's gonna be good. So I'll leave it there. Okay, and now we do the rest. So we know that the upper body and the body pegs are in a good spot. We can go from the left to the right now. So we're going to basically be moving everything up towards the bow tie. I can either do this collar now, or I can do the bow tie now, or if in anything, it's pretty much all the same. So I can grab them all since they're all there. So much faster than setting them all one by one. So just put that right in the middle. And so now you can test. So there's our bow tie. Just like that. The body's in the middle, the body's fine. Let's see where the collar. What I can also do, instead of doing what I've got here, I can actually make a change. So this would actually probably be in our best interest. So instead of doing a shirt main peg like this, let's take this out completely. And instead of doing we'll do that one. What I'm gonna do, because I've already set the pivot points on this one, I'm just gonna copy and paste, and then I can change the name because it'll keep all the information the same. I do want that information to be the same. Copy. I'm gonna do. Whoops! I didn't mean to copy paste. I didn't copy paste special. So let me copy paste special. Again, anytime we're copying anything drawing related, drawings and pegs related, we want to use the copy paste special. So it doesn't really matter. I'm not using anything about drawings, but I'll go to always create drawing files and create new columns. That's the important one. All right. So from here, I'm going to hook up the collar. And I could leave this over here, but it's already set, so I'm just going to bring it here. Bow tie. So I'll just do bow tie plus collar. And what that's going to do, this is going to be a little bit of a different setup from it being attached to the shirt. But what this does is it allows you to grab the center part of the character. Since there's not a lot of shirt details here, it's a really nice thing to kind of grab the whole thing, and then that way it gives you a really easy way to do, what do you call this? You would want to call this the center line. Woo, there you go. It gives you a really easy way to have a center line. If the character had like a line down the center, like with buttons, you always want to have like one peg that kind of controls all the center lines. So this is probably a better way to set this up. Another thing too, we might want to add cutters so that the collars are located within the body of the character. But for now, I think that's okay. We'll see what that looks like when we get closer to the rotation. I think that it'll be all right. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we want to do. That's another good reason to keep the bow tie in two pieces, is this view right here, now that I'm looking at it. But we'll get there. We'll get there when we get there. A nice little problem for us to solve. All right. Okay. And so now we can do deformers. That's pretty much it for the hierarchy and the body. We are going to breeze through the rest of this rig. If we're at this rate, this is exactly what I was hoping for. Okay, so since there's a couple people in the chat right now, let me throw out a question. One, and if you're watching this at home, at home. You're all watching this at home, but if you're watching this at a later time, Discord. Do we want a Discord? Do we want to have a place where we can go and work on this character or work on a rig and chat about it? Two, where is Kadence going? Just out of curiosity, what's the story behind Kadence and this cute little outfit? Where is this character going? Where is this character going? So throwing that out to the chat right now while I do deformers. Okay, so I hid the root at the base of the fluffy bow tie. I am hoping that we'll have a natural break right there. It'll work out in our favor. I don't think you've missed anything major. It's been a uh, quiet, quiet session. Just chilling out, making deformers, setting them up on this bushy bow tie. The dog is snoozing behind me now, so she's passed out. I'm gonna have to record her snores one day and post them because she's funny. Begging for treats the 1 minute, snoring like a grandfather the next. But she didn't have to use her anxiety coat today, so that's nice. The dog, yeah, I'm trying. I don't want to draw her attention. I don't want to risk it. I'm not risking it for the biscuit. For the dog biscuit. Alright, so in this case, I'm going to put the root, since it's already got a break, I'm going to put it here. And I hope that I don't have to redo this piece to see, but if I have to, I have to. I'll figure it out. Put one right here so that I know that it's going to be able to move if I need it to deform it out of the way for the head of the character. Okay. All right. So now we're at the shirt. And I'm going to hide the root at the top this time, because we're not going to see it too much. And I want to make sure the character has enough deformer pieces, but not too much. But just in case you want a little bit of a body shape, I'm going to give it a couple extra. So I'm thinking shoulders, I'm thinking about the pelvis. So there I've got my two shoulders. Here I've got these ones I am being a little precious, trying to get the placement pretty close to just right, and making sure that my deformers are pretty center. Okay. All right, and then to test it, what I can also do is kind of take the top and measure it to see if they're kind of aligned. You can see that this one's a little bit lower than this one. So I'm gonna push that up a little bit and make an adjustment. Again, I'm still thinking in thirds for my deformer handles, and I'm gonna test the other one. I want them to be pretty close, pretty good. And then I can also check to see my sides. These ones don't really matter so much. Let's see how off they are. I think that they're actually pretty close. So that's good. Perfect. Perfect. The overall body shape is a pretty important piece for a character, so that's why we're doing that. That's why I'm making sure that looks pretty good. I have to set this pivot point in a different place. This is not actually going to stay here. Our lower body is not going to stay there. So I might change that right now just so that I have it out of the way, because I'm not going to remember to set those. So for now, I'll just bring them all the way down, and I will leave myself a note saying to double check that when I have the legs done. There we go. So that's for future. And we'll add these deformers right now since we're here. Same thing. I don't think we need to worry about having too many pieces for this one. We can kind of do a standard 4-point deformer. And actually, before I'm going to finish this, but I am going to double check the rest of the design. I just want to make sure if there's any overlapping lines. We can even add those for the legs. We have them for the legs. We don't really have anything. Like, there's no other line here that's for the butt, so we'll leave it simple. We've got it in the quarter front. This is kind of the idea of the 3 pieces for the neck I was kind of mentioning. This is a pretty good view. You have the front part, in this case it's a leg, but then you have your neck or your front collar, your neck, and your back collar. This is like the 3-part line. It just gives you like this really nice like depth to your character. So we'll see if we have to bring it back when we get over here, but for now it's all right. There is always the capabilities to change things in the future to make sure that it looks good with the rotation. As you go along, you kind of learn to pick up those things. You can kind of pick up those things by looking at a design. But since this is like a training ground, let's go ahead and make some mistakes. Let's fix them later. I think that that's fine. All right, so now we've got those deformers done. All right, so voila, we got our body done. That was painless. Painless. Excellent. Yeah, so I don't know. Should we go back and do, we have 15 minutes. Should we go back and we can do some line thicknesses. We can kind of play with our line weights, which I kind of started, but we can do a little bit more. We could go into the mouth. I can make some adjustments there. I can show you what I think about when I do little things like this. So here we've got a whole bunch of little lines, which is kind of a pain in the butt to work with. So what I'm going to do is going to grab my contour editor. Did you mention the tapering stuff you mentioned yesterday? No, I didn't. It's so difficult to rig and talk at the same time. Um, all right, so I did go in and taper my lines though. I did them in secret. I did them. I did them. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. I just did them after the recording was done. But here, let me show you this. So right now we have our separate lines. So let's clean this up a little bit. So we got this line, we got this line, we got this line. It's a bit of a pain. So to taper all those lines to make them look good, what I like to do is flatten the line first. It kind of optimizes it for the like the connections to happen, for the connections to form. Right now I have two lines selected. It's kind of hard to tell. Let me see if I can change this to a different color. There we go. Just something so that the lines stand out. So here I have a line. Here I have another line. So I'm flattening them. That's the optimization. And then this one right here is the merge pencil lines. Now I've clicked it. So now it's one piece. This is a really great tool, but it's something that you should really kind of watch out for because it could actually change the lines, and you'll see them jump. You'll actually physically see them move. And if you remember, we've spent so much time talking about how you want your artwork to be perfect for the binary of the computer, so the computer doesn't run away with things, and that's kind of exactly why. So doing this, I am flattening it to optimize it, and then doing this, and so now we've got this one piece left. So I'm just connecting this, flattening it, merging it, and nothing moved, which is really nice. So it's all one piece now. And now we go to the line tapering, and we have all these pieces, all these little red dots, all the contours, the control dots. They're already there, but we can actually, there's one that's going to be a master, which we can't really change, but we can add them by hitting control. It's kind of exactly like drawing, and we can delete them. So this one looks like it's our master, so it's not going to let me delete that one. And I actually kind of want that one. So we have to decide where we're going thick and thin. So I'm gonna go thinner towards the bottom. So here we can like literally, if you hold down shift, you can hold these and you can change these as you see fit. So you can go ultra thin, you can go ultra thick, which we don't want that either. So I'm gonna grab, I've basically just been kind of going through and finding that happy place in the middle. 5. Something like this, where we have, this is the one that we can't delete. Oh, deleted there. Let's see. But we can't delete that one. So it looks a little funny. I'm going to show you how to work with that one. So if you wanted to match it perfectly, you can actually add a control dot over here, and you can see that it's a 7. But law of averages, if we know the line is a 10, and we know that we've put it to a 5, then 7.5 is kind of in the middle. So I can actually ignore that and just come here and just put in 7.5. And it'll automatically do it. The only thing that you have to do is you have to kind of manually taper that line, and so you can kind of see that the one line is a little wonky because it's not tapering. There we go. So there you go. So now it's hidden. And we can do that here as well. Play with our thick and thin. So we can see which one we like better. Let's do this. We'll do a test. Which side we like better. Okay, we're changing these to 5, so I'm going to leave that thick one right there. Alright, so we've got this one here. You know, I kind of like, okay, this is what I like. I like, so I have the tapered lines on the left side, on the front side, on the inside of the bow tie. On this side, it starts with a thicker line. I don't really like that, but I like that it's wonky over here. So I think what I would like to do is just bring the idea of more tapered onto the ends. So I'll show you what that looks like. So we've got that here. So maybe right here, I'll bring that down to 5. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And so we'll just reverse it on this side. Secret tapering, yes. The secrets to tapering. The secrets to tapering is that you can, it's one of those things that you can turn into a complicated task very quickly. So you kind of want to set a rule around it and then make it as easy as possible. I really like, for instance, I really like working with whole numbers because I'm not there. I don't want to sit there and say, I want the thinnest portion of my line to be 5.3. I just want to type 5 and hit enter. So that's my secret. Which side is thin? Thin is on the bottom, so we'll do thin on the top so that it's a little bit. Whoa! I must have hit a button. There we go. Don't know how I did that. Must have hit 5. Okay. Oh, it must have been when I, whoop, there we go. Did it again. Must have been there. Wasn't in this box. Okay, and then this is 5. All right. Looking pretty good. All right, so we can also play with the line thickness of the character. It's looking pretty. I might just taper the line at the top and leave so it'll taper a little bit. And it'll basically just give a little bit of weight to the character. There we go. So not a ton at all. Just a little bit towards the top. And I think I will leave, let's see, let's pinch the sides. Let's see what this looks like on this, the bow knot. In my opinion, I really like doing the tapered, I like adding the tapered lines. I find that it's just a nice little detail, and it's fun. This is where I get to have a little bit of my creative. I'm doing this one a little bit thicker than 5, only because it's a small piece. This is one of those exceptions, because I think 5 might be too thin. Let's see. So there's 5 on this side and 7 on this side as a line thickness. So maybe not, maybe 5 will work. Let's go with it. If we can avoid the exception, let's do it. All right. And that looks good. Okay, and I won't touch the hips. I'll leave that one. We've got that drawing. We've got those deformers set up, but I won't do anything with that one until we start to get to the legs. We can, that's pretty much it, unless we want to go and change the mouth a little bit. I don't know if we should do that though. But here is Kadence in their glory. Okay, and I'll change the line color to black. Yeah, it's getting there. Getting there. Almost done. I think that that'll be a good, we're going to run into some problems when we get to, not problems, but we're going to run into extra work when we get to the hands and the shoes. That's natural. That's always the case. But the sleeves and the arms, and I think that we'll be able to get through next week. Next week, yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how far we get. But yeah, that's it. That's it for Kadence today, and that's it for the rig along. So thanks for sticking with me today, and popping in for the body, and what else? Yeah, it's so nice to be doing this. I still love it. It gives me something to look forward to. Stresses me out when Mabel doesn't want to come home from her walk on the way to do this Twitch stream, but so much fun. And what else? Please let me know if you're interested in a Discord channel. To be on there, just to kind of bring everything together. And then the next thing is, let me know what you're working on while you're watching this. I still want to see, and if you have any questions, yeah, I love the interaction outside of this program. So yeah, I hope that everybody has a nice night, a nice evening. But that's it today. Stay tuned, more next week. Have a good one, everyone.